Hi everyone, and welcome to Efficient Gaming. Today, covering the Witcher Monster Slayer, we're going to be talking about the 093 patch update, reading through the patch notes and giving some examples on the changes that have been made, whether they're good or whether they're bad. So let's start having a look at the patch notes. Okay, so we're just reading through the patch notes now. So, greetings Witchers, we are happy to introduce the 0.9.3 update in which we've added a friends list. That's something that's pretty cool, and it bodes very well for the rest of the game and any further updates that are coming out. So that's exciting. Hopefully we see some interaction between players a bit later on. The game's still not released yet, so we've got a long way to go. But for the moment, you can send and receive bags with items to each other. We've added two new scrolls, the summoning scroll and the range scroll. Actually, what I might do is I might just come back to the patch notes each time. So with the friends list, there's two ways to access it. You can either click on the new button, which looks like a bunch of people, and it brings you straight to the friends list where you can manage friends, although I don't have any friends at the moment because I don't know anyone else in the area who plays the game yet. So I'll be happy to add some of you if you're interested. So this is my friend code. I'll also post it in the description below. Feel free to post your friend codes in the comment section below as well if you want to add friends, because we've got a decent number of people that watch these videos, so you're sure to get plenty of friends. Obviously you're going to be able to send things. I haven't managed to send any gifts yet, so that's something that we can explore together and find out whether there's friend list limits, whether there's sending or receiving gift limits or opening gift limits per day. We'll find that out together and we'll cover that in the next video. So that's the first way you can get to your friends list. The second way you can get to your friends list is by going into your character, clicking on friends, and it brings up the friends list. We've added two new scrolls, the summoning scroll and range scroll, not rage. That would be an interesting scroll though, rage scroll. So they are both in the shop. The first one, summoning scroll, can be purchased for 200 gold and summons 5 random monsters, including 4 common and 1 common or rare. I don't think that the 5th one should be common or rare. It should at least be 1 rare monster if you're going to be buying something like this. I don't see the point of it being a chance to be common or rare. But anyway, that's apparently what this does at the moment. Now, this is not something I'm going to be buying because there's plenty of monsters around for me, but it gives players who are in areas where monsters aren't spawning all the time the option to put a little bit of money that they might earn per day. You can earn up to 200 gold per day now, which is severely reduced from before, but we'll cover that in a minute. So this gives you an option, just like an incense does in Pokemon or a tonic for trace detection does in Wizards Unite. This will give you an option to spawn monsters for a little bit of gold investment. The range scroll, I'm still not sure what this would be best used for. Now, as you're walking around the map, it's going to make the monsters that you encounter easier to see. So if we look at the map at the moment, I'm literally just in range of this set of roots and fibers. So I've just picked that up. But I am just out of range of both this one here as well as this monster over here. One's just spawned in range, which is great, but 2 have just spawned in range. That's something else that I've noticed this patch notes that's not actually mentioned in the patch notes. There have been a lot more monster spawns and even more fiber and root spawns around for me. So normally, if you've been watching some of my other videos and you'll see where I'm sat at home, I normally only have this and it's not in range of me. I have to go out if I want to pick that up. But quite recently, there's been one that you just saw me pick up that's been spawning here. So I've noticed more monster spawns and more fiber and root spawns, which is great to see. So the range scroll describes itself as being able to increase the range of monsters by, we get to it again, 150%. So that means that I would imagine 100% would be, so we're currently stood here and we can reach out to here. I would expect to be able to reach out to maybe even that monster over there. Possibly. Because if that's 100%, you can at least double that distance, which should get you to there, plus add another 50%, might get us to be able to reach that monster, and that monster, and that monster, and that monster, definitely that monster. So it's very useful, but if you've got plenty of monsters around your area anyway, it's not necessarily the best spend of money. Although, comparatively to the other items in the shop, it is quite cheap. It only costs 80 gold. And lasts for the same period of time as both the summoning, well, the summoning scroll spawns a number of monsters. This one lasts for the same time as the experience scroll, so I imagine they might go quite well together to earn experience. Now, this one completely baffles me. We've added a new skill, Witcher Aura, which summons a random monster to the player. I've looked through the app, I've looked through the skills section, and while the skills section has changed, I have not seen any mention of this. I don't know how it would even work. You'd probably need like a button or something to be able to activate this. Otherwise, does it just summon a random monster to the player every period of time? I have not been able to find this within the game at all, so it's weird to include it in the patch notes if it's not actually there. So we won't be going into more detail on that. We've changed the values of rewards for daily quests and item prices in the shop. Now, they've also changed the value of gold that you get from Nemetons, and they've also restricted it. Now, this is probably going to be one of the most controversial updates in this patch, but talking objectively and from a position where you want to see the game grow, you want to see Spocko and CD Projekt continue to make this game for us and update it and give us more content and fun events and things like that, they need to make money out of the game. And before, it was really, really easy to get what you needed gold-wise to buy pretty much anything you want. So as you know, if you looked at my last video of my shop and what I'm buying, I've already bought probably all of the items that I feel that I need to be able to succeed in the game. So at the moment, there's not really a monster that I come across that I feel like I can't beat with the right set of potions. Now, obviously that changes for a lot of you because you either haven't been able to access the game yet or have only just started playing it. If you've either watched one of my videos that shows you how to access it, or you've just been invited to the open beta. Closed beta, sorry. But it's, I feel, a necessary change so that the company can still make money out of the game going forward. So I'm just going to quickly detail what those changes are. So normally, each day you get a daily quest, and it used to give you 100 gold. Now it only gives you 50 gold. So that has halved your almost guaranteed, if you're able to complete the quest, gold income per day. Now also, and I'll just play a quick video clip here, they've also reduced the total gold that you can get from each Nemeton. Now it used to be 100 gold per Nemeton that you beat, with no restriction or cap. Now, as you can see from my indication on the screen, the maximum you can get per Nemeton is 50 gold, and there is a cap of 3 of those per day. So the absolute maximum gold you can get in one day is 200 gold, and that's 3 lots of 50 from beating the Nemeton and 50 gold from your daily task. Now, obviously, that's the amount of gold you can get per day. Obviously, if you save up 2 daily quests that you haven't claimed for the previous 2 days, you can get those as well. So the maximum is 300 gold. But in general, the amount of gold you can get per day going forward is 200 gold. 50 from your daily task and 50 each from 3 Nemetons. Now, while I've said that I feel this is necessary going forward for them to keep the game, they've pretty much made baits useless, because baits used to be a way to use the Nemetons that are around you to be able to bring more monsters to fight in them, and every time you bring a monster to fight in it, it gives you gold if you beat it. Obviously you have to use potions and the bait, but usually it is gold efficient to do that. So they've kind of shot themselves in the foot with people buying things like baits, because apart from filling in your monster bestiary, it is a little bit underwhelming using a bait now, because they're quite expensive and or difficult to make, and if you're using it and not getting any gold in return, then it's not really encouraging to do so, apart from completing your bestiary. And using a bait doesn't necessarily guarantee you a higher class or a rare or legendary monster either. If it did, it would be maybe a little bit better, but it doesn't guarantee you that. So I think there are a lot more changes to come, and these are just some of my suggestions for what they could do to change it. So they could either make it so that baits definitely attract monsters that are from either the rare or legendary part of your bestiary, or they could make it so that the baits aren't included in the 50 gold limit per day, so that if you're using a bait on a Nemeton, you've got the ability to get another 50 gold, so they're not included in your limit of 3. Or they could make it so that maybe you only get 30 gold if you've used a bait on a Nemeton and it's outside your limit of 3. There's lots of different things that they can do that I think need to improve the balance in this. But for the moment, I don't think this is where they need to be in terms of player interaction, gold generation, and your, for want of a better word, your want to actually complete these Nemetons. Now, in saying that, there are a lot of other improvements that have come with the Nemetons. So I don't know if you can see here. Yeah, that was a really good example. So in this Nemeton, I purposely didn't use a Swallow Potion, which is what I normally use for my health regen, and if you look at that last monster battle that I just did, I purposely waited until I had almost no health left. I was actually really impressed with how low I got the health. And even with no health regeneration potion on, I started the next monster battle with full health. So this is probably been done in conjunction with reducing the gold to make it so that it's easier for you to do these Nemetons, but now I think it's too easy to do the Nemetons. I bought 60 Swallow Potions the other day because they're pretty much one of the 2 things that I needed to beat a Nemeton, but now you don't really need them at all. Like, I've got 40 still sitting there that I'm not using, and I don't know what to do with them, because with the way that it's been changed, if you heal to full HP in between each battle, you're much better off with a Swift Potion than you are with the Swallow Potion now, because the Swift Potion increases your maximum vitality by 50% or 100% if you've got the Manticore Armor, which will just last you throughout the whole fight, and you completely heal in between each fight. So this is much more beneficial than just having a little bit of health regeneration, because you end up with 50% more or double the amount of health that you would have before. So these changes are interesting, but I don't think they're done changing. I think they'll probably change it so that you don't heal to full health in between each fight. And I think they'll probably change something around the use of baits, because at the moment they're their most expensive item in the shop, and all they're doing now is giving you the ability to do more monsters, which is good, but it's not the same as it was before. For new players, this might not bother them, but for everyone else who's been playing, it just feels like there should be a little bit more of a reward back, even if it's significantly reduced gold, even if it's 20 or 30 gold, or even just 10 gold for it. It's still something that you'll get. It'll make it a lot more worthwhile for people to be doing these Nemetons. They'll want to grind them more. They'll want to spend money, or they'll want to spend time and resources in the game getting the baits so they can do more Nemetons, even if it's just a tiny gold reward. So we've covered the friends list, we've covered the new scrolls, we've covered the complete lack of the Witcher Aura skill, or maybe it's there and I just haven't found it yet. If you guys find it, let me know in the comments and I'll cover it next time, but I've not been able to find it. We've changed the values of the rewards for the daily quest and item prices in the shop. Now, I haven't covered the item prices, but we'll do that in a minute. So we talked about the changes to the gold and the changes to the Nemetons. Now, the other change to the Nemeton, which if you go back and have a look, is now you actually get XP other than just the XP for the Nemeton. So it used to be 500 XP just for the Nemeton, you wouldn't get any more. Now if you actually make critical hits and critical defenses during the Nemeton, you get rewarded for those. You also get rewarded if you use the right Witcher Oil, just like for a normal monster battle. So that was nice to see, because that was sort of something that was restrictive before. Apart from the fact that you got 100 gold for completing a Nemeton before, now it's only 50. It was better in terms of time-wise efficiency for you to kill each of those monsters outside the Nemeton, because you would have ended up with more XP than you would have for just beating the Nemeton. It's a little bit more balanced now. I think they could possibly make it so that you get the actual XP rewards for each monster that you get, as well as the 500 for beating the Nemeton. So it could be something that's worked on a little bit more. But at least they've taken the first step towards giving you more XP. I haven't actually seen the minimum player level required to clear the Nemeton, presumably because I'm too high and I'm well above whatever the minimum player level is. So if you guys come across that, let me know and I'll mention it next time. We've adjusted the player's interaction range with monsters, herbs, and characters. So this is something that's sort of become a lot more consistent. They haven't increased the range, they haven't decreased the range, at least as far as I'm aware. It looks exactly the same to me, but they've made it more consistent. So beforehand, if there was a monster here, and let's say our range indicator sort of came halfway through the monster, on some monsters, that would mean you are well in range of it. On other monsters, it meant that you still weren't in range of it, even though your range indicator was halfway through the monster. They've made that a lot more consistent now. Now, I don't know whether they've made changes to the actual range indicator itself, or whether they made changes to the hitboxes of the monsters, so that when you're actually in range of it, it triggers correctly now, rather than just randomly based on the type of monster. It's a lot more consistent, and it's a lot better in general. Now, I think I also mentioned that there's been more monsters and fiber and roots spawn on the map for me, which I think is a great addition. We've made it easier to parry and changed the bomb throwing mechanic. Now, I haven't actually got an example of the bomb throwing mechanic here, although I might just show it to you now very quickly for the monster that's here. Now, this is something that I had a lot of criticism over before. Like, the battle system is great, but the bomb throwing mechanic used to be very disjointed from the rest of the battle. So the rest of the battle flowed really quickly. You could do things pretty much at the same time. When you were ready, you just hit the button. Before, you used to have to click on the bomb, wait, curve it around to throw it to the monster. It took up quite a bit of time, and I literally never used bombs apart from the Dimeritium bombs because of that. So now, I still don't use bombs, but that's because I don't really need to use bombs to beat things, but I will use one for the sake of showing you how this now works. So now, if we want to fight the monster, we still do our normal attack, 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 defend. But, oh, I didn't actually go into the monster with any bombs equipped. I forgot about that, so we'll just do that again. I'm going to actually equip some bombs, just the most basic one, because they're easy enough to craft to show you for the video. So you can throw a bomb at any time, but again, I like to throw them at the most efficient time, so we'll attack, attack, attack. Now, if you literally, like the defense, or like the spell casting potion, you just hit the button and then cast your spell, although while I was talking I was too late to do that. You just click on the bomb now, it throws it automatically. So that is a lot smoother and a lot more in tune with the entire rest of the battle. Now, I'm not going to win against this because I was talking and not really playing properly, but you can see the bomb throwing mechanic is significantly changed, and it is a lot better in terms of efficiency while fighting. The other mechanic, which is made it easier to parry, but we'll go into the monster fight again and I will show you. So, again, we won't be winning this monster fight because I'm taking my time to show you. Hit and hit. Now, if you look above here, hopefully you can still see the screen touches. Yes, you should be able to. As it's about to attack, it makes a bit of a noise, and they get a skull indicator right in the center of their health bar at the top. I'll just go in again and show you. And that sort of gives you a bit more of an indication, right there, that the monster's winding up its attack to hit you. So it does it before the attack animation, and that's useful because of a lot of the things that we talked about before, because interrupting the attack animation is what makes a lot of the harder monster battles easier to complete. So it's a good indication of when the attack animation is started. It's not actually any easier to parry, but they've given you more of an indication rather than just timing and paying attention now. You've actually got a physical and audible indicator on the screen so that you can see when that's happening. Due to skill changes, we've reset the skill tree. That probably means nothing to you because there's a lot of skills that have changed. I won't go through that now because I've got a video coming on actual skill changes. We've introduced many smaller fixes and improvements. Now, these are the things that I've noticed most in the app. In general, fights seem smoother, the app seems smoother, the gameplay's smoother overall. Menus take less time to load. I can do things quite a bit quicker than before. It's just a smoother experience in general. However, there are exceptions to this. There's still bugs present in the game. Now, one of those is that when you first load the game, in the morning now, on the morning of a new day, you won't see your new daily quest straight away. Now, for me to get it to come up, I have to open the app, see that it's not there, go in, kill something, craft a potion, do whatever, interact with the game. Then I close the game again, and then I open the game again, and it appears. So now my daily quest has actually appeared, which I need to kill a werewolf, which I probably won't be doing today, so we can change that. Kill 3 neckers. It's a lot more doable because neckers are out during the day. So if you don't play at night and it gives you a nighttime quest, then consider changing it so that you can actually complete it. Alright, so I believe we've talked about everything in the patch notes apart from the item prices in the shop. Now, this is in stark contradiction to one of the things that I talked about last time because we actually went through the shop, so I'll note the major changes here. So in the alchemy section, these potions are a little bit cheaper, like 10%-ish cheaper. So they used to cost 66 gold for 3 of these. Some of them actually even cost more than that. The cheaper ones were 66 gold each, so they've actually normalized all of the Witcher potions to 60 gold for 3. Apart from obviously ones that are on sale on day, which you still get 10% off. The Witcher oils, I don't remember exactly what price these were before, but everything but the basic oil is now 75 gold for 3, so 25 gold each. I literally never purchase Witcher oils because I've usually got enough crafting ingredients to craft whatever I need, and at the moment I'm sitting on about 10 Witcher oils for each type, so I'm good for a little while. The bombs have now been normalized. Everything but the basic bomb is now 3 bombs for 150 gold, so 50 gold each. And the baits have gotten a bit cheaper and been normalized. I believe at the most expensive price they were about 170 gold each before, and they've now all been normalized to 100 gold each, obviously with 10% off still being available. Something else that I noticed, some of the packs in the shop got quite a bit cheaper. So for things like a set of bait, if you want one of every bait, you can actually get 30% off. So that's 300 gold short of each of these costing 100 gold each, so you get 30% off there. The rest of these seem like they're pretty good deals. I haven't actually done the maths on them. This one comes with a lot of stuff. Now those reinforced crafting stations and that spacious saddlebags nearly cost 8,000 gold together themselves. So you get quite a bit of extra for that one. This is probably the best value pack in the shop. Now they've also changed their starter pack, and if you're a completionist you will need to buy this to get every sword in the game. Now it's a very basic sword, but you can't actually buy this sword in the shop. They used to give you one of them. I don't remember exactly which one it was. It was one of the silver swords. I don't know whether it was the Wolven or the feline silver sword or the Ursine, but it was one of those 3, and they used to give you that as part of the pack. But now they've introduced a basic version of the silver sword, just like the basic version of the steel sword that you start with, and if you want every sword in the game, you'll have to purchase this pack because there's no other way to get the Witcher's Silver Sword, which you wouldn't necessarily want unless you're a collector, because it's just like the Witcher Steel Sword. It has no extra base stats on it. It just does basic damage in the silver type. It is, however, not a bad starting bundle. A silver sword is something that's very useful to start with, so it's a good starter pack. It gives you a couple of extra crafting stations, some summoning scrolls, an ingredient scroll, and a bunch of potions and bombs. Now, the Dimeritium bombs are a great help at the beginning because they're quite expensive to craft in terms of ingredients. So overall, I think it's a pretty decent pack, especially considering if you value this sword at even just less than 2,000 gold, it actually costs you $10 equivalent in whatever currency. I'm not even sure what currency this is in. I think it's in New Zealand dollars because that's where I got the game from. $10 will get you 1,300 coins. Even just this sword, which even if you consider that it's got no base stats, all the other silver swords are at least 2,000 gold each. So even if you say this one's worth 1,500 gold, that's still cheaper than buying gold to buy one of the other silver swords, and you get all this other stuff with it. So it's a pretty decent pack as well for people who start out. I think for now we've covered everything. This is probably a lot longer video than I expected to do on this, but hopefully all the information that I talked about is useful and you've got a lot out of it. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time, guys. Catch you later. Bye.